Well, and I don't know that there's any grand conspiracy. There's not a, I'm not saying anything like that. I actually,
I have no problem with that.
Well,
I think it's a control issue.
I personally believe it's just the natural way governments go is that someone else gets in the power and they go, well, I guess I better do something. So and the only way to do something is to take more power and more control, and they constantly will just keep expanding it and doing a little bit of mission creep. Yeah. And so it'll just constantly keep expanding outwards, and it's just the natural progression of things.
Are we losing some? What's happening here?
I'm not really sure. We're getting the headphones are getting.
Is that it?
Okay. I don't know if it's in the headphones or coming out over the air. I hope it's not coming out over the air. So you don't think that there is any sort of planned deviant thing going on? You're just saying that all governments, I guess, so historically, if we look back at the Roman government or look back at different ones, it's always a matter of the government becoming bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're just saying, okay, forget the conspiracy, but overall, government getting bigger has not been healthy historically, and we don't see it as healthy now. Let's do something to diminish that.
Absolutely. It's their natural progression of, the system or whatever, is to just keep taking more and more and more control, and to not cede control. Governments don't have a long history of going, you know what, we're going to go ahead and give you more of your rights,
right?
Without there being some kind of significant thing. It's always we're going to go ahead and take that right. It's not that important to you. We'll just go ahead and take it.
If you're listening today and you think your rights are being kind of stomped on and you want to get in on this, you can call us at 742-5555. This is Live with Lou, and we're talking with Benjamin Bartholomew. Benjamin, your card says, we watch the watchers and are intent to set brush fires of liberty in the minds of others. So some of these incidents that you've created, you call it theatrics, have certainly started the community talking, which is kind of what you're after, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we would have been fine to just go hold our sign and not have any interaction with the police. That's something we're not looking for.
Right.
But we're prepared for it, because we know people have run into problems, and so it's very important to us that we're prepared. But and in the card, we throw in a little Latin, we throw in a little Sam Adams there. But it's the idea is to get people motivated. I mean, a lot of people come. I mean, I used to do this where I would just complain and talk about, oh man,
I wish
government's government's bad, and I wish government would shrink, and I wish government would do this, or I wish government would do that. But people just complain and complain to their friends, their neighbors, and wish that someone would do something.
Right.
And the fact is, we should do something. Right. Everyone should do something, and it doesn't take a lot. We're not going out. We're not even doing civil disobedience. We're not going and clogging up a city council or something.
You must have hit a note with somebody.
But so we're not even doing that. We're just for now. We've just been going out and holding signs and trying to get people to think about things.
Right.
And that's so far what we've done.
So you wear masks? What's up with the mask? I mean, what's the hook with the mask?
So we go out. Usually there's just me and my brother, but we've had other people join us. And since there's just a couple of us and not a whole big crowd of people,
right?
And we have a sign. We want people to look at the sign and read it, not just there's a sign and ignore it. And a great way to bring attention is to have a costume. I mean, if you look, if you look at Mr. Pickles or when the Liberty Taxes,
people.
They wear a little bit of a costume. It brings more attention to it.
Yeah.
So we wear these masks. They're
hold on just a second. We're gonna. Craig, you on the air here with us?
Is this Lou and Benjamin?
This is Lou. Yeah, this is Lou Benninger and Benjamin Bartholomew. Go ahead, Craig.
Okay. Well, I'm Craig Christensen. I'm the director of the Yuba-Sutter Tea Party Patriots.
Go ahead.
And over the last year, I've got to know Benjamin, and I'll tell you what, he is a very intelligent, thoughtful young man. I mean, I met him about a year ago. He came to one of our functions. He was carrying his firearm legally.
Yes.
And the police showed up. He was legally detained and searched, and there was no cause to arrest him. So that was my first experience. And he, on occasion, comes to our meetings. He is not a member. He refuses to be a member because he does not want to attract attention to any group or organization. He feels strong about what he does. And but he doesn't want to cause any problems for anyone. I mean, I respect him tremendously. And if you know, as far as the Tea Party goes, if you either believe in the Constitution and your rights or you do not.
Right.
And so when he comes to our meetings, we've discussed this. We had a discussion one evening strictly about him, so that our members would understand who he is.
It's working, Benjamin. It's working.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just telling you, I've got to know him, and he's a first class for a young man. He's doing things that others only wished they could do, and I'm just telling you, I got nothing but respect for him.
Well, in other words, he set a brush fire in the minds of your members.
He has.
Yeah, that's great, man.
I can tell you that there are some of our members who have never really been, subjected to, an open firearm.
Right.
And everyone, wants to support our Constitution until the time comes when you're faced with it. And, there was a little hesitancy, I would say. But when he comes to our functions now, the first thing he does is he walks up and he says, "I'm here. Is there a problem? And if there's a problem, I'll leave." I mean, that's exactly what he does. And I tell him when he shows up that there is not a problem, and as long as he's within the framework of the Constitution and our laws, I mean, what are you going to do?
Well, it's interesting that he even has to ask that question, isn't it? Because of where we're coming from as a community now, that we don't even know what our rights really are. We say we do, but then when somebody exercises them, we think, that looks wrong to me.
That's correct.
Isn't that true?
The fact is that he doesn't have to ask, but he does. And that's just the kind of person he is, I'm telling you. And I respect him completely. I mean...
that's great. Well, Craig, thanks for calling in, and we appreciate your good housekeeping stamp of approval on Benjamin.
Yeah. Oh. Hey, Craig, just real quick, this is Fish. I'm assuming that the bulk of the people in the Tea Party, or at least what I have seen, has been older folks, although I know there's some younger people involved. Don't you think someone like Benjamin really opens, just because of his age, don't you think that really opens a whole new window, not just for the Tea Party, but for a lot of young people to start thinking differently, that they can actively make a change, that they can look at even the Tea Party movement and say, you know what, I can be part of that?
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a little slow coming when it comes to the younger generation, I can tell you, but it is coming around.
Good.
Yeah.
And we're working on that in various forms. It's a challenge that we are addressing. And Benjamin is one of our younger members. Well, he's not a member; he refuses to be. But he shows up and he participates. And when we need help, he's there to help. I'm just telling you, it really irritates me when I see the bad press about him when you don't even know who he is and the kind of kid that he is. I call him a kid because I'm old enough to be his dad. But.
All right. Well, the fact is, in the newspaper, when we read anybody's names in the paper, people jump to conclusions that aren't really very accurate. So,
well, anyway, Benjamin, keep up the good work, buddy.
Hey, thanks, Craig.
Hey, Craig, thanks for calling in. We appreciate it.
How does that feel, Benjamin, to know somebody, instead of all the bad press, that you actually are making a difference?
Well, it's good to know. Like I think I mentioned this before the show, but I was saying that, people who know me and know my family, when they heard about this arrest thing, none of them, I guess maybe none of them said anything, but it's all been supportive. It's all been, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened.
Yeah,
and
right.
Good for you, standing up for your rights and doing what is right.
Right.
Because, we're not, you can go and look at the comments on the Appeal Democrat. A lot of the things people are saying are just simply not true, or people are jumping to conclusions, and that's to be expected. I mean,
Lou and I are both from the '60s, and we were in a generation that supported protest in a lot of ways. Whether you agreed with what was going on or not wasn't as much the issue as we did have that right to protest. I think that all protests can be taken too far. I do think that there is a point at which it's unhealthy, but generally speaking, if it's just free speech and it's just I'm showing up, or like you're doing, I would absolutely approve of that, even if I disagreed with your stance. Do you know what I mean? I would
yeah,
think this is what we need to do, and I think a real key element of that, for example, is when you take something that like Lou, you mentioned, we look around, don't see anybody with a weapon, so we just assume
Right.
that's the law.
Yeah.
And when you take and you not only protest something, but you enlighten the people as, you know what, this right that I have, look what's happening because we've come to a place where nobody acknowledges we have this right anymore.
Yeah, well, just like
So-
the guys going down the road with the gun in the gun rack that you could see in the back window
Right.
of the pickup. Like, I was thinking about that a while back, that my dad and I, who were hunters, we used to pack guns all the time in the back of the pickup right there, and totally visible. And I was noticing how many years and maybe decades I'd never even seen a gun rack anymore. But these guys had a gun rack and a gun in it. I thought, hey, that's awesome, man, because I wonder how many people are freaking out over that.
And
right?
I should mention a couple things. One of the things in the open carry community that's said a lot is rights unexercised are rights lost. So what you were saying earlier about how we just assume that we don't have that ability to do something because we look around and it's not there. And the other thing is, honestly, the main reason I do open carry is because I'm afraid. I mean, crime is fairly low. I'm not afraid that I'm going to be attacked or anything. But it's to make a political message. It's to let people know, because people actually, honestly, when they see me with a gun, the first thing they think of, or at least when I hear them, like a little kid will say, "Hey, Dad, why? Look at the guy with a gun." Their response to that person or whatever, to whoever they're talking with, is, "Oh, well, he must be law enforcement."
Right.
When we're you can open carry in Walmart, and we've had Walmart employees go, to me and my brother, are you guys deputies? And we have to go, "No, we're just people."
Yeah, I think, and unfortunately, everything that has to do with weapons in the media is negative.
Yeah.
Person, weapon, problem. And that's the sequence that we now have received instead of, okay, if grandma's carrying a 357 and she's in the bank and a bank robber comes in and draws down on grandma and grandma takes him out,
Right.
it changes the whole picture.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? In other words, you know what? Don't think about robbing the bank because the old ladies are carrying weapons in there. And I remember and it was another YouTube that went viral. It was the one about the guy that it was a middle of a bank robbery, and he was carrying, and the guy had a shotgun, and there was a gal using an ATM, and he very quickly realized that guy is going to shoot that girl. You know, because she wasn't aware of his presence because he'd come in somehow anyway. So he took him out. And the consequences of him saving that gal's life and probably others in the bank was ridiculous. And so they actually had the sheriff and other people came on that video. You can watch it on YouTube. Came on that video and talked about he had a right to carry. He had a right to use it. There was somebody's life was at stake. And the amazing thing is one of the rounds that this guy fired went down the barrel of the shotgun.
Unbelievable.
But so when they said, well, how do you know the guy was going to shoot back? Again, one of the rounds went down the barrel of the shotgun. What does that tell you? You know?
Yeah.
So.